Thank you for joining, everyone. I'm really excited tonight to have Simon Hester here. He's referred through a friend, and as many things go, I've been talking to him for months, and we finally got to the point where we're together. And he's out in the UK, so this is actually recorded earlier, of course, because we're 5 hours apart. Simon, thank you so much. Welcome for coming. Welcome to my show.
Great pleasure, Andrew. It's really nice to be here. Musicians don't often get asked about their music, so I'm ready to talk.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Well, I'm just fascinated because I do a little bit of composing myself, nowhere near as much as you, of course, but I'm just fascinated by the process. I'm fascinated by how people make the decision in life to be a musician. When you were a
Mm.
child, were you growing up in a family where your mom went around singing arias and your dad was playing the cello, or what was your childhood like?
Well, close, close. My dad loved music. He was a great pianist. He
Hmm,
kind of I think if it hadn't have been for the war, he would have the Second World War. He would have been a musician.
really?
But
Wow.
things didn't work out that way. But he
Hmm.
loved music. He was a wonderful pianist.
Hmm.
And my two elder brothers, they played.
Hmm.
Uh, my mum always said she's not the musician, she was the listener. But she was very much involved in stage work and plays and things.
Oh,
So it
really?
was
Wow.
a house full of music. Music was just natural. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. I always say I once wrote a set of preludes for piano, and I
Hmm.
always called it my piano stool preludes because the range of styles in it was so vast, and it
Oh.
reminded me of the piano stool we had at home, which on one side had Frank Sinatra songs, on the other side had Bach preludes and fugues. Just anything that was good was in the house,
This is
and
kind of the
nobody
stool where
ever.
you flip up the seat and there was all this music inside it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And the,
Yeah.
the the range of music was so great that I think that's such a big influence on me,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
nobody sat me down and said, this is bad music, this is good music.
Yeah.
This don't follow this style, follow this style. It was just such a massive range of stuff.
Hmm. And
So
and when you were a child, I assume you at some point gravitated to the piano. How young were you when you first started touching the keys?
well, the story goes, the legend goes
Ah,
that I
yes.
started when I was 7 and I got bored. So the teacher said, "Look, he's not interested at all. It's not what. Don't waste your money." And then I kind of showed another interest. About a year later, I started again, and it took off. I don't think I really took it seriously till I was probably about 11 or 12.
Hmm. And did you
Uh,
start at 7 or did you start earlier than 7?
I no, I started at 7. Although
Yeah.
I was always, obviously with my brothers playing and my dad playing, I used to sit and listen and
Yeah.
plink around at the top, when they
Do you
were
remember
playing.
what your first serious song was that you learned on the piano? Was it a Frank Sinatra or a Bach or what was it?
I remember it was in a book, a brown book. I can't remember what they called it, and it was
Hmm.
called Smile. Not the Charlie Chaplin Smile.
Ah,
It was another song called Smile, and my
hmm,
dad used to play it, and I used to sit and make up something at the top of the piano.
yeah.
I
That's
remember
great.
that. I remember that.
Yeah, my dad taught me Blue Moon before I knew anything on the piano, so it was just all
Yeah, yeah,
visual I had no idea it was in the
yeah.
key of B flat or whatever at the time.
Exactly, exactly.
And
Yeah.
then, so how
Well,
did you become, yeah, go ahead.
no, go
I'm
on,
sorry.
go on.
I was gonna say, from there, how did you progress in terms of, did you end up joining a band in high school, or how did your musical interest start to progress over time?
Well, I was made to play the oboe
Oh, okay.
as
Sorry.
well, which no, well, someone's got to do it. I
Yes.
think in those days they used to bring a load of instruments to the classroom and
Hmm.
say, "Look, you can play a trumpet or an oboe or a clarinet." And when it got to my turn, there were no more instruments left except the oboe. So
And, and Hester's only in the middle of the alphabet. I'm surprised
I know, I
they
know,
ran out that quickly. Yeah.
it was unfair, but
Yeah.
there you go. But actually, I enjoyed it. I never really became brilliant at it, but
Hmm.
that allowed me to play in orchestras and
Ah,
bands, which as
yes.
a pianist, of course, I wasn't doing. So I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot about, breath control and, you know,
Phrasing, all of that. Yeah. That's
exactly. It
wonderful.
gave me a lovely insight. I was never into the making of the reeds and things like that. I think that's what let
Hmm.
me down, you
Yeah.
know. Uh,
I was surprised because I took up sax one summer and I was surprised that it's just not like a recorder the fingering's all
Yes.
over the place. It's not linear. It's not like
Yeah.
it's like it's not
Exactly.
easy. It's not. Seems I'm pretty impressed with anyone that plays any of those instruments. That's not
Yeah.
easy.
It's amazing, isn't it? I
Yeah.
know. But even now, if I do some singing or something like that, it really I feel it helps me with the breathing still.
Hmm.
What I learned then,
So do you have a good
And then
singing voice?
I do sing. I sing
Yeah.
at church. I
Oh.
do occasionally sing. I do quite a lot of actually voiceover work,
Oh,
speaking as
really?
well.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So which is quite fun, and I combine that with writing a bit of music and things.
We need some new voices. I have to admit, there's some voice that they use on Instagram and TikTok and all that. There's the same guy all the time. I think, can't they find another guy?
Yes,
It just drives me
exactly.
nuts. But
I
anyway,
know.
was there a seminal moment in your teenage years or whatever when you said, "I'm going to dedicate my life to music"? Because that's a big step.
Yeah, I think weirdly enough, I think I did have this period when I was like 13, 14,
Hmm.
when I thought, yeah, I've got to be a composer. I've got to do it. And I used to start writing things. I remember starting writing a piano concerto,
Oh, really?
starting writing
Oh,
a string quartet.
yeah.
Uh, and I'd write these kind of things in the style of Beethoven or Brahms,
Mm-hmm.
and I had these great dreams that, yeah, I'm going to become a composer. I'm going to be a
Hmm.
composer, and I'd write songs and things like that. I
Now you
think when
said
I actually,
starting. You said starting to write. Did you not
well,
finish them, or?
well, even now in the attic, I've got a pile of unfinished masterpieces.
Oh my God. Well, there you go. There's an incentive
And
right there.
only I think two of them I completed. One was a piano concerto,
No.
and about 6 or 7 years ago, I thought, do you know what? I'm going to finish that. So I think I used a little phrase that I'd written when I was 13, and I
Wonderful.
thought I'm going to include that and actually finish this piece. So
That's
that
great.
was lovely.
Has that seen the light of day? Is anyone playing it?
Yeah, I did do it with a local orchestra, and
Excellent.
yeah, a few people have shown interest in it. It's something I might revive one day.
I
It was
love it.
quite.
Is it on the internet anywhere? Can we see it online?
I think there's a version of it on SoundCloud. I think.
Ah,
Uh, yeah, yeah, I think it's on
excellent.
my SoundCloud.
And
Yeah,
so
it's
you
a
did,
fun
yeah.
piece.
So we should go to. It's good to tell people. So SoundCloud, and then basically your name, I assume, Simon Hester. People can
Yeah,
find you there.
yeah, you'll see some of my stuff on there. Yes,
Excellent.
yeah,
Yeah, because you also have a great presence on YouTube, which we're using mostly today. And
yeah,
I'm curious. So you pretty much invested in going right after high school, I assume, into college and studying music and all of that. You went to
yeah.
that?
I was born in Sheffield, which is in the north of England,
Yeah.
and I came down a very naive kind of young 18-year-old down to the Royal Academy of Music,
Mm-hmm.
and felt very much out of my depth, and
Yes.
studied piano.
Mm.
I kind of didn't compose a lot then, um, but I think I did keep a little bit going. But I was mainly studying piano and thrown into
Yeah.
the deep end.
But I love the fact that
Um,
you started composing at a pretty young age. That's not always typical,
yeah,
I think. Yeah, that's great.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and even when I look back at the old, I've got notebooks upstairs, and I look back, and of course, it's all kind of pretty basic stuff. But it's lovely that it's there still. You know what I mean? I'm kind of
Oh
not
yeah.
ashamed of it, even though
Yeah. And how do
it's.
you write? Do you write out yourself, or do you use transcription services to actually write out your pieces?
Oh no, I'd write out and say it's pencil and paper at the piano
Is it really? Oh wow, that's
every time.
impressive.
Every time, yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Very
use
good.
software like Sibelius, things like that
Yeah.
then print it out. But for
Yes.
me, you have to have a pencil and a rubber and go
Exactly.
through the hard work. You
Exactly.
know,
So let's
yeah,
play some pieces. You have this wonderful sequence called Scenes from Movies that
yeah.
I'd love to play. And so tell us a little bit about that. How'd you come about with that concept?
Well, about 10 years ago, I think it was, I met a wonderful publisher from a company called Musica Ferrum,
Hmm.
and just a small little boutique company. And I sent, because you send your music out and lots of people reject it. And this wonderful guy uh, called Nicholas, he said, "Look, I love your music. I'd love to publish it." He
Hmm.
says, "I'm not a big publisher, but I will invest in it. And you write what you enjoy writing, you know."
Hmm.
So I think this was the third thing I did with him, or the second, I can't remember. And I just said, what about a set of pieces, each representing a movie scene, like from a classic movie. So there's a
Mm.
love scene,
Hmm.
there's an action scene,
Right.
you know, there's the opening titles, there's the closing titles. And he said, "Yeah, go for it, go for it." So he just left me to do it. And I think for me, inspiration often comes from a title.
Mm.
So if I can picture the structure of what I want to write and a title and where I'm going with it, that then the inspiration comes really.
I love it.
Uh,
It's interesting because I do feel the same thing, and I often see, famous pieces that have a title. And
mm,
sometimes I listen to them going, I don't see any of that, but at least they were inspired. It
yeah,
inspired them to do it. But other
yeah,
times, like Debussy's "Reflect Down Low," you can actually sense that the waves in
yes,
the ocean or whatever. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fun when
Well,
it works, and when it
interesting.
doesn't, at least
In,
it inspired. So
exactly. Interesting
yeah.
with Debussy, of course, with his preludes, his piano preludes, he put the titles at the end. So
Oh,
yeah, if you look at some of his piano preludes, I think all of them, in fact, the
hmm,
title is always at the end, almost like
hmm,
it's an afterthought, almost like he wrote the piece and then he thought, oh, this sounds a little like, a cathedral
ah,
or minstrels or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
So
You
it's,
know,
but I love a good title. I always say to my
excellent.
students, start with a title and just
Hmm.
write something,
Yeah,
just get something down
that,
on paper,
that's
you
great
know,
advice. That's great advice.
you know,
Well, let's check this out. This is scenes from the movies.
yeah.
I love that ending. By the way, I noticed you have a notation that says annoyingly. Oh, I wonder what the Italian word that would be. I'm sure there's an Italian word for it. I got to ask you, I really love the way you have these things scrolling up. Is there a
Yeah.
software package that does that? Or are you doing that by hand? How does that work?
I think I do that via Sibelius. You can create a little movie of your score.
Oh, no kidding. That's great.
Yeah, yeah,
I have Sibelius. I've been paying every month for a year. I haven't used it yet. I definitely have to
yeah.
pick that up. Excellent.
You can export your score as a movie.
Mm,
Yeah, and you can
excellent.
adjust obviously how quickly it scrolls. I think I then edited that in a movie software, so I could
Mm,
adjust the speed at which it went and things like
I
that.
love
Yeah,
that. Okay,
yeah,
so this is battle scene.
yeah.
Wow. I noticed, by the way, sometimes you'll change key signatures, and I found in some of my music I'll do that too, but not always aware of why I did it, or it just kind of feels like it's the right thing. Do you have a protocol that you use for that, or is it just one of those things where as you find as the piece progresses, it's just easier to write in a different key?
Yeah, I think, I mean, if it feels like it wants to go there, then
Mm,
I let it go there.
yeah.
Uh, I don't change the key signature. I think the protocol is that if it for a long period it fully goes into that key, then change the key signature.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're throwing
Yeah.
accidentals at it, and it becomes confusing.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so
It's
if you can kind of justify that it's staying in that key for long
mm,
enough, and I mean, I love to go. I always think of it as the performer. If as a performer that would be clearer for me to see the
mm,
key signature change, then I change the key signature. You
exactly.
know,
Exactly.
just I want it to be as clear as possible for the performer, really.
Sure. Okay. Here's the next one. That's very sweet. I'd
Yeah.
love to see some of these things orchestrated. Have you, by any chance, done any of those? Or
I
taken them to
have
the?
I have not these, but I have orchestrated some of my piano music.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's my favorite because I'm an old romantic, and I mean for me melody is everything, and
Mm,
if I can come up with a melody that feels like that works, then I'm pleased, you know.
I
And
love
so
the way it just builds
I
and
was pleased with
yeah,
that one.
very
Yeah.
nice, very nice. I can almost sense that there's someone sneaking around the corner. You get this feeling of like almost this mysterious, tense kind of thing going on in it. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think what I enjoyed writing these was because it's scenes from the movies. I could switch style from one piece to the other without
Yeah.
anybody accusing me of, you know.
Now, who are some of your favorite composers? Who did you like to listen to? Or who do you think
Wow.
influences you the most, maybe?
Um, I mean, I've got such a wide variety of composers. I mean, I love the Great American Songbook. I was
Yeah.
brought up on Sinatra and Bing Crosby and Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
So to me,
Hmm.
those men and women who did that are some of the greats.
Mm. Hmm.
Just in terms of the kind of union of melody and lyric, you
Hmm.
know, wonderful,
Yeah. Yeah.
wonderful. I think, I mean, like the street scene in the second one we heard, that's very much influenced by Gershwin and an American
Hmm.
in Paris and that type of style.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But I love so much music.
Hmm.
In classical terms, virtually anybody who I'm listening to is my favorite composer. You know,
Yes.
yeah.
Are there any recently that you're especially enamored with?
Well, funnily enough, a composer that I've kind of, I think, discovered in a major way for the first time is Haydn, Joseph Haydn.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, because I'd obviously known about him and played some of his music, but
Sure.
just the scope of his inventiveness and
Hmm.
imagination,
Hmm.
in his 104 plus symphonies and string quartets, just the way he's just so inventive, just
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
everything he writes, he's searching for something new,
Hmm.
and a very kind of humorous composer as well. And I
Hmm.
love humor in music.
Oh, really? I have to
Yeah,
admit, I don't know a lot about Haydn. I should go back and listen to some more of that. I'm very focused on Debussy and Ravel, but and
yeah,
of course I know Bach and Mozart, but I would love to.
yeah,
Yeah, and I've just
yeah.
started to be exposed more to Schumann and Schubert and that sort of thing. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I think,
that's
thank,
wonderful.
well, Ravel. I love Ravel. Just
Mm,
his orchestral color
hmm.
is wonderful. Is
Yeah,
wonderful.
absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant, brilliant.
yeah.
Okay, let's listen to some more of this. Ah, creepy scene. I'm always convinced that music really makes a horror film or a mystery. Sometimes if you play a scene without the music at all, there's just nothing to it. I mean, in many
Yeah,
cases,
yeah.
it's anticipatory horror or it's dread where you know something's coming only because of the music, and it
I
really
know.
doesn't.
And sometimes it's very simple as well. Just one note
Yeah,
can create the atmosphere.
I
Yeah.
love the way that you almost have a little bit of a teasing, na da da da, na, kind of at the end. It's like it's like an instigating kind of thing. It's a little scary.
Yeah. I think the idea of that was like a little children's nursery rhyme,
Right.
kind of
Yes.
the innocence,
Yeah. Yeah.
thrown in there.
Okay. Here's the next one. I'm just thinking if I were one of your students, you said write something that's French. I wouldn't know how to even begin. Is there something about French music that you could describe to the layman's musically that makes it French? Because it definitely has a French feel to it, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
I can
Well,
put my finger
now
on
it's
it.
time. It's time to confess now because I wrote that piece. I think without a title.
Ah,
And when I came to put together these scenes from the movies, I was missing a piece.
yeah,
I thought, oh, that piece has got a French feel to it.
it really does.
Let's call it the French scene. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I
I
don't
don't know.
know why.
I think there's a little bit of whole tone scale in there,
Yeah,
a
yep,
la Debussy.
yes,
Uh,
yeah.
I think just some of the kind of openness of the writing as well.
Very nice. Yeah, there's something very
Yeah,
sweet about it. Very sweet. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's a little recap of a little reprise of some of
Yeah,
the other pieces in there.
I do
Just
see, you could feel
round
like
it
the
off.
little, yeah, I definitely felt that, different kinds of things coming at you. Very interesting the way you put that together.
Yeah,
I also like the fact that even though the meter never changed technically, you had almost a hemiola effect in some cases where it seemed to move around within the measures
yeah,
in a way that
yeah, yeah.
well, it looks like it might have changed the beat a little bit. But now this is something completely different. You have, and I love that you did this. You have a waltz for every day of the week, and you've done multiple sets of these, which is great.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
motivated you to do that?
Well,
Just
again, it was the title inspired me. I thought, what about that as a concept? What about
yeah.
having a waltz for a different day of the week?
Mm,
And I think some of them, reflect kind of, Monday being a little bit of a blue day, and
yes.
Sunday maybe a peaceful day. But
Right.
again, just the title inspired me, and
I love the
what would a
concept.
waltz for
Now I
Wednesday
have to
feel
admit, we're
like?
just going to do a few little samples just to give people a flavor.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so this is the first one we picked out. Okay, now this is the waltz for a Monday morning, a Monday. This I love this. It does feel like a Monday. I want to
It
ask you,
does
is
feel
that
like.
yeah, is that the piano that's in front of you, or is that a different keyboard you're using?
No, it's not. That's actually a Roland keyboard.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and then I put that through the computer and use software called I think it's called Pianotech, and it's well, for me it's one of the best piano simulations that I've come across.
Nice.
So
By piano,
I can then,
I'm sorry, by
yeah, and then
piano simulation in terms of you mean the sound of the piano, the sound
yeah,
of it.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
yeah. So I
Okay.
don't have to worry about kind of the acoustics of the room or anything. I can just do it direct through the computer.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Very nice. So now
yeah.
this is another waltz. Let's see. I'm not sure which one this is. We'll play this and a little bit later in the week. I love that little callback you have at the end.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
what's nice about that too is you get to see how you play it, which is fascinating, I think, for a lot of people that don't know how that works, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, funnily enough, Thursday's my favorite day of the week. Don't
I
ask me
can
why.
tell. It's
So
wow, because
that
Friday's
has a
coming. That's why.
yeah, that has a contented feel to it, which
You know, I would love to see all these things actually danced. It would be great to see, like maybe a Sunday night they're in their pajamas, but you know, Saturday night they're dressed up in all full regalia,
yeah,
ready
yeah,
to go out in the town, and you know, maybe
yeah,
Monday morning they're kind of groggy. But I could see this being very
yeah,
visually fun. Yeah, this is great.
yeah, yeah,
Excellent. Now we
yeah,
have a whole another set of things called that you call Bluetudes or Blue Etudes.
yeah.
And fascinating by this because it's just basically all these different styles, which I didn't even know existed. How did you come about with this knowledge? Because it's pretty cool.
So, well, really, these are all my kind of brief for myself. My challenge here
Yeah.
was to make all the pieces based on a 12 bar blues.
Mm-hmm.
And they all are. They all are. They all follow that pattern of,
Mm.
chord one, chord four, chord five,
Mm-hmm.
with little variations. But then I just wanted to make each one follow a certain kind of technique of piano playing. So
Mm.
there's one, playing in thirds.
Yeah.
There's one that utilizes the left hand over the right. There's one that's about coordination. And again, just having that format and that challenge was the inspiration to write them, really.
Yeah. This is wonderful. I think students would love this too. I think it's a great compendium of different styles. It really, I think, would be very effective. So
Yeah.
let's play this now. Excellent. By the way, I love that little sting and the way you had that built for you. And maybe this is a good point to say why you call yourself the lonely pianist.
Yeah, I don't call myself that so much these days, but I
Yeah.
think when I was making these, most of them happened during COVID and lockdown.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it seemed a good name really for someone who just sat at home on their own making something.
Absolutely.
So
In fact, I
yeah,
still do a little thing every Thursday night. I still play for some friends of mine exactly for that reason, just to be able to get out there. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
So it was a way of reaching out, during those
sure.
times.
Very
And
nice.
yeah, that little sting was just an improvised little moment, I think, that
Ver-
I used.
Yeah. Very nice. Now, Simon, do you have this sheet music for sale by any chance?
This one is available, yes,
It
through
is.
music. Yeah, on all good music suppliers. You can get this. Yeah, yeah.
Very
I mean,
nice.
the week of waltzes you can get directly through me,
Uh-huh.
and the scenes from the movies are available. They're published as well. Yeah,
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
yeah.
Okay, that was strolling. Here's the next one. By the way, are there any specific blues performers that you potentially like to listen to or recommend that people listen to get a good feel for
Uh,
this?
yeah, I mean, I suppose in terms of jazz playing, I'm influenced by all the greats.
Mm, hmm.
Errol Garner,
Yeah,
Oscar Peterson,
yeah, yeah.
you
That's
know,
great.
Wynton Kelly. So I think I always find little, in my pieces, you always hear a few little phrases that come out
Yeah.
of these.
Did you pick up most of this by ear, or did you also like, are there things out there that, teaching the blues that you can pick up that people can pick up if they want to learn how to do this?
I think you've got to listen really. You've got to
Yeah,
listen. You've
yeah.
got to have it's like learning a language.
Hmm.
If you want to speak Spanish, you can read so much off the page, but you've got
Right.
to listen. You've got to listen to Spanish people. You know.
Definitely. In fact, my wife and I have been trying to learn Italian for years, and one of the things someone said is we should listen to Italian in the background just to get it in your
Yeah.
subconscious. So sometimes I walk
Exactly.
around the house with all this Italian, and it helps a
Yeah.
little bit. I'll come across, oh, that's a great way to say that word or whatever. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Because of course, on the page, none of that is on the page.
right,
It's
exactly.
it
It's
all
the
it
feel,
all lives with people's exactly,
definitely.
exactly.
All right,
So
here's your next one.
listen, just listen and listen and listen.
Yeah. Hmm, very nice.
My little tribute to Count Basie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that this definitely sounds like him. That's wonderful. Yeah. It's amazing how much great music is out there. In fact, I'm always discovering new, pianists from the past, and some we've never heard of, especially some of the African American pianists we've never heard of. There's just a woman the other day I saw for the first time going, "Oh my God, she was so gifted,"
Yeah, yeah,
back in the day. So just beautiful
yeah,
stuff. Very
yeah.
nice. Very nice. Nice. When you see the title "Working on the Left," out the left, it reminds me of well, Rami is the one that put us together actually, Rami Barniv, and I've probably had between teachers and master classes at least 20 uh, people that have taught me things, but he taught me, he was the only one, in fact, that taught me a technique for powering the left hand during the revolution. If I played the Revolutionary Etude by Chopin
Chopin. Yeah,
with the
yeah,
left hand, I would get my muscles get all tight, lactic acid, I would cramp up. It really was painful to practice. And my teachers would just say, "Oh, just keep practicing, you'll get better." But he said, "No, no, no. Just move your hand in and out. It'll power the keyboard for you
yeah, yeah,
automatically."
yeah,
I could play that for hours after that with that one little technique. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
owe that to him for that insight. That was just a brilliant
yeah, yeah,
insight. He's really
yeah.
brilliant. So
I
that was
mean,
great.
yeah, I mean, so much of piano playing is learning just to do natural movements.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, just the movements you do in everyday life, and nowhere in everyday life do you do a repetitive movement in one place.
right,
You always move. You always let go and move.
right. That's a great way to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
you see a great pianist, there's almost a chi between them and the piano. There's almost like this energy transfer both in directions. Seems like seamless. It's just effortless.
yeah,
It's amazing to
yeah,
watch.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean,
anyway,
the great
yeah.
pianist Claudio Arrau. I once heard him interviewed, and he said the secret is no blockage, nothing between you
Mm,
and the music. Which sounds kind of very, hard to put into words, but I understand what he means.
yeah, yeah,
There must be no part of you that's blocking the movement,
exactly. Yeah.
no part of you that isn't involved.
Right.
You know.
And it's funny because when as you know, teaching a piano student, so you can sometimes see how they're blocking themselves. You have to help them get by
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And it's amazing to see them develop and appreciate that insight, which is wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, we got more of this. So let me
Mm.
get us
Well,
back in there. Oh, what a great chord. Nice. I love the fact that you get this hand over hand action too going on. It's quite involved. That looks like a lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah, that's really cheating because you take some of the repeated double notes with both hands.
Yes.
It's much
Yeah.
easier.
Cheating but fun. I just got to watch Yu Jiao Wang last Friday, and of course she
Oh,
does a lot of
fantastic.
crazy intricate stuff, and it's just it looks impossible to play. It's just it's
Yeah,
magic.
yeah.
It's magical. Yeah.
Amazing. What an amazing technique.
Very nice. Simon, you have some great ending chords. I love these yeah, wonderful chords, man. Those are great. Really nice.
The challenge of that piece actually was to, I think I challenged myself that I've got to move octaves every bar.
Hmm.
So, that's what the study's about.
Yeah.
You know,
That,
moving
that was
around the piano freely, really.
that was excellent. I just love the fact that you've got J.S. Bach basically playing the blues. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I've been
That's
accused
that.
of playing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I could say that's very much based on his Italian concerto, the
Mm-hmm.
second movement,
Mm-hmm.
in the way that the hands interact, um, and very kind of ornamental in the right hand. But yeah,
It's
in the
very
same key as
nice.
well. Yeah.
It's wonderful that we're in a position to be able to amalgamate all these different composers. I've been accused of playing Beethoven as if I were Chopin, and I don't mind that, even though people,
No,
I
no.
kind of think that as a compliment because I think, we are capable of reinterpreting music through the eyes of a different composer. I think it's because I don't do it
Well,
deliberately. I
yeah,
just happen to love the touch of Chopin. So
yeah. Music is a recreational art. We recreate it, don't we? It doesn't exist until we play it.
right,
So
right.
it must speak what how we see it,
Yeah.
how we feel.
In fact, one of
You
the
know.
things I love to do is I'll take a little snippet of something, transitional part of a famous piece, and then I'll just write a whole other thing around it. It has nothing to do with the piece anymore, but it just
Yeah, yeah,
inspired me to write something completely different, you know. So,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
okay, this is the next one.
Yeah,
And
this one is the challenge here was to go through all the key through 12 keys and
oh,
quote some of the previous pieces as well.
that is really interesting. Ah, wow. That is great. I have to say that for someone that's got perfect pitch, that might drive them a little crazy, but because I'm
Yeah,
oblivious of the fact it's changing key all the time, but it's so seamless the way
yeah,
you did it. That's
yeah. Well,
wonderful.
I don't have perfect pitch, which probably helped.
Yeah. I also want to include Rami's rag,
Yeah,
which, in tribute to him because he introduced me to you in the first place, but also he's really quite prolific and an amazing pianist and composer in his own right. So,
yeah. Well, Rami, I used to interact. I've interacted a lot with him through Facebook, etc.
yeah.
We used to have a lot of fun, kind of putting naughty comments on all the piano, you know, groups. You
Now,
know.
have you met? Did you meet him in a camp, or how did you cross paths with him?
No, well, we our relationship was just through Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think we appreciated each other's humor. And then he came over to London a couple of years back, and a mutual friend said, "Look, Rami's coming. Why don't you come and meet him for
Yeah.
real?"
Yeah.
So that was wonderful. We had a good few hours together, and that was lovely to meet him. But I wrote this piece. I thought I've got to write him a piece. I can't meet him. He's come all this way. I've got to write him a piece of music. So I
Oh,
thought,
so
what can I
I'm
write him?
sorry. Did you write this piece, Rami's rag?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wrote this for
Oh,
him.
oh, you
Yeah,
wrote this
yeah.
piece. Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
wrote this for him, and I thought I got to write a rag because he's always writing ragtime music.
Right, right.
He's written some wonderful rags, so I've got to write a rag for him, and I gave it
Oh,
to him.
okay.
And
Excellent.
if he's watching this, Rami, you've got to learn this and play it.
All right, that's fair. That's very fair. Yeah, I entertained him at our house for a while, and he performed for our neighborhood. They really absolutely loved him. It was just great.
Yeah,
So
yeah. What a great guy.
very
Yeah,
nice.
wonderful.
And he's got two great books out, one, The Art of Fingering, and also one called Blood, Sweat, and Tours, which is quite a fun,
That's right. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
quite
Yeah.
fun. Bravo. Wow, that's great. That's a tour de force right there, my friend. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure I could play that anymore. I'd have to practice that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I think that's one of the things I love about recording my own stuff is that there was one piece I spent 3 years learning and then I can't do it anymore, but at
Yeah,
least it's captured on
yeah,
CD
yeah, yeah. At
somewhere.
least it's there once. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Even Schubert said he couldn't play his own music, so
Seriously.
that's good.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
wonderful. Well, I don't know if we can fit this into the hour, but I'd love to just play that one little Christmas thing.
yeah.
It's
Sure.
it's very clever. And let's see, this is
So this is piano duet, and I think this recording, I think I played both parts. Uh,
yeah, because it's
I'm the
Christmas
lonely pianist.
carols.
I have no friends.
That's right. Now here, this is not a visual thing, it's just but I'll show the
Yeah,
page.
yeah,
This is on your SoundCloud page, which I encourage
yeah.
people to go to. There's a lot of great stuff here. I love that. You know, it just put a smile on my face. Just
Oh, good, good, good,
I love
good.
Christmas music, but after a while, you know, it's fun to get a new take on things. I encourage you to do a whole album of this kind of stuff at some point. I would buy it. I would just absolutely love it.
Really, really.
It's
I'll
great.
have that's encouraging. That's encouraging. But
Very
that
nice.
is available actually. The sheet music you can get that online.
Very
Uh,
nice. Very
but it was
nice.
for a piano duet.
Well,
Yeah.
Simon, I can't thank you enough. This has been a great hour. I'm sorry that
Oh, thank you.
unfortunately, you know, by the time we have what would be a Q&A, it's going to be way past your bedtime. So I'm not going to ask you to be up at 3 in the morning. But I really do appreciate this interview. And I look
I
forward to.
appreciate being asked. It's really wonderful. Thank you for making it so easy.
Oh, my pleasure.
Pleasure.
I enjoyed it immensely. It was great to spend a couple of weeks listening to your music
Yeah,
and talking a little bit about it beforehand and setting it all up. So anyway, keep
yeah.
doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for
I
your
will
time.
do. Bless you.
And
Bless you. It's always a
thank you.
pleasure to speak to another grey-haired man with a beard.
I love it. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.